This is Jim Coyle.
If you're listening to this, you are the Resistance.
We gotta find this guy.
If you're frustrated and concerned about the future, if you're ready to speak out, if you're ready to stand up and take action, to defend liberty at all costs, you are the people we're looking for. Welcome to Resistance Radio.
Good evening and welcome to Resistance Radio. Jim Coyle, your guide through the chaos for this evening. It is a special limited edition Resistance Radio. NASCAR Daytona 500 went through a 6-hour and 38-minute rain delays today. So that has thrown off the schedule of live programming. But I am here because for one reason and one reason only, I could have mailed it in and said, forget about it. It's over. There's no time. I promised you Hank 3 tonight. And when I put that on my Facebook page and when I put that on Hank 3's Facebook page, I got hundreds of new followers overnight instantly. You guys have been very active and very engaged with the program since I made this announcement in just a short period of time. And I do not want to disappoint you. I am a man of my word. I promised you Hank 3 tonight, and I am going to deliver Hank 3 to you tonight with patience, the grace of God, the help of Tom Mitchell, and a little bit of technology. We have Hank 3 for you this evening. Forget about the COB and Jobs won and lost and Pelosi and Obama and McCain and Yarmouth and all those. They're going to be there. They're still going to be there. And Bevin and McConnell is just getting started. We'll get to all that. But tonight, in this limited edition, rain delay edition of Resistance Radio, I promised you Hank Williams 3, the grandson of Hank Williams, and I will deliver him to you. So here we go. This is, let's just do it. Let's get into it. All right, it is time to bring on the line with me tonight my special guest for this evening, calling somewhere Central Time Zone, deep in the hills of Tennessee, a big Resistance Radio hellbilly welcome to the one and only Hank Williams III. Hank, how are you, man?
Doing good, hanging in there. It's already starting to feel like summer outside.
I know.
Flowers in February is always kind of weird to me.
Yeah, but nice break from all the crazy cold weather we've been having.
No doubt. It's been kind of interesting all around us. Nashville really didn't have that intense of a winter compared to what's been going on, so...
Yeah, I
it
hear
is what it is.
Yeah, well, you've been a busy guy. Just in the fall, you released a couple of CDs, Brothers of the 4x4 and Fiendish Thread. You released those together. You also have been putting out your own records on your own record label now, Hank 3 Records. So what's the last year been like? Plus going on tour. I mean, you've been crazy busy. What's been going on?
Well, basically, I make records in the wintertime. It's just something I've always done. Even right now, I'm almost 140 days into a project I've been working on. But we had a good year last year, put out the 2 records, the country record, the punk rock record. I was able to squeeze in a couple of tours. There's still quite a few places in the U.S. that I haven't got to play yet. You know, we still got to hit Florida and Chicago, all up and down the East Coast, and deliver that show. So that's what we're going to be gearing up for here soon.
Cool.
And, I'm not the best businessman as far as running a record label, but I got a good distribution company that works with me. And that's pretty much, as long as I can keep my creativity going and it's not affecting the songs and the scheduling and all that, I'm going to, be trying to keep it independent.
Excellent.
So that's always, I've never really tried to been going against the system. It's just a natural thing for me to really be involved in the project. And it doesn't matter if I'm setting up gear on stage or recording my own records and playing on them. I'm usually really hands-on.
Yeah. Well, Brothers of the 4x4 definitely shows that. You know, I was looking at the credits there, and you're playing drums, you're singing, you're playing guitar, you're even playing some banjo on there, and then you're producing the whole thing in the studio and doing the overdubs and all that. So is that just you enjoy that creative process? Is that difficult on you? What's that like?
Oh, it's always a challenge. I mean, making records, it depends how you make records. And the way I make records, it takes a lot because I don't really do the Pro Tools thing, and I don't have the clip and pasting option. So just that in itself takes it more old school, kind of back when the Beatles and Pink Floyd only had 4 tracks to get everything on. I myself only have 16 tracks to bring everything together.
Nice.
And the outside musicians always try to do it in more of a full take. You know, we do some punching here and there, but we try to approach the song as a whole section as much as possible.
Well, you know, and there's something about the way you record songs too that give them a depth and a feeling that you actually hear in the music. I mean, I remember, stuff on like Raisin Outlaw when you had that warmth, like you were actually listening to a record play the song. You know, you've been able to capture throughout the years of producing your music. You've been able to capture feelings and sounds in your music that are just really inviting.
Well, I do the best that I can. I don't have the best sound or the worst sound, but I got a unique sound. And hopefully, in time, you know, that sets it apart from all the rest.
Yeah.
It's kind of going I approach making records different. The way that the whole aspect is just a little different. So in time, we'll see how, you know, that does. I'm a big fan of really big sounding records, but also on the other hand, I'm a big fan of the thin sounding ones too. Like all the old country music has a little bit of that natural distortion and that grit on it. Yeah. And that's something I've always felt really comfortable with.
Well,
so,
you know, a couple of years ago, I think it was maybe 2007 or so, you did a show up here in Louisville at a little club called Peanuts. And I was promotion director of an alternative rock station at the time, and I convinced them that we should promote this show. And I went out there and got a chance to see you that night for the first time live. And my wife was with me, and to this day, she says the same thing. The transition of your live show is unlike anything I've ever seen any other artist do, and you don't. It doesn't feel like it's forced when you go from your country to your rockabilly to your punk or thrash or whatever else you want to do. It still seems legitimate and real coming from the same artist, and that's a pretty unique gift that you have. What is it like doing those kind of live shows, playing multi-genres?
Well, it goes back to, it's a challenge, and the longevity is always hard to keep up with. It's not like I'm getting any younger, but I'm still doing 4-hour shows.
Yeah.
And to me, the performance is all one, but I pay respect. I make sure to pay respect to the fans on stage and with our ticket prices and with the open video camera policy and, you know, doing the meet and greet after. So I'm always keeping the fans in mind, making sure that they can have the best night as they can.
Yeah, I remember you being very accessible after the show, hanging out with people. Doing the autographs and the pictures, and and I know it meant a lot to people. People walk away from that and they feel like they've really been a part of the show, and they take something with them.
Well, the transition kind of depends. You know, some nights I have the country voice, and then some nights it's a little harder to get to the country voice. Mm-hmm. So, say I'm having a night where the country voice is kind of a little hurting.
Yeah.
Well, by the time I get to the doom part, it's like I get to take a breath. You know, the lights go down, the movie comes on, and it gets a little weird, and you're going from everything being bright and light and eye contact is full on to, okay, we're going to dim the lights, and it's kind of, I feel the transition.
Yeah.
And some nights, It just depends if it's a Friday night or a Monday night. You know, the audience, you can tell when the audience is up, or sometimes you can tell when the audience is down. Most of the time, I don't really go on stage with a set list. I kind of feel what the crowd is kind of reacting to a little bit. And that depends if it's going to be a lot more of the bluegrass, faster country songs, or if they want to be a little more mellow, we'll sing some of the slow ones. So that in itself keeps it fresh night after night after night.
Yeah, that's awesome. And do you have a favorite genre that you like to play, or does it not matter to you as long as it's producing the sound?
Well, since I'm looking at so many other factors on, you know, if my rhythm playing is tight, if the band is sounding tight, if the voice is good, it's really hard to say. You know, when I'm doing my country stuff, I'm definitely maybe saying I'm a little more uptight, trying to make sure that I'm nailing all the notes and giving the people, you know, the best show that I can. And when it goes to the rock, you know, it's supposed to be a little more careless, reckless, a little more loud and free. So it's two different worlds, for sure. But the feelings, all in all, it's a pretty high energy show with the amount of songs that we play. Most people are used to shows only being an hour long.
Yeah.
And when you have a crowd in there trying to make it through a 4-hour show, that in itself is a challenge. And someone that sticks around and watches the whole thing from beginning to end, we hit a lot of moods, a lot of different transitions, and who knows what all is going to happen in 2014. But, you know.
Do you have a favorite song or a favorite album so far in your career that you've done that really means something a little bit more than the others, or, you know, was a little bit more fun to put together, or a little bit more of a challenge to put together? Is there any song or album that stands out to you right now?
I get the rush from every record. Every record that I create, I get that excitement on feeling the song come together, getting the take that's one take, having the rush of playing it for somebody for the first time. You know, as far as the fans go, you know, a lot of the fans would say Straight to Hell is their record to beat.
It's a tough one to top. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, you know, every band has that one record that you just, you know, do your best and keep on doing what you do. But it just really depends on the project. You know, the punk rock record for me was it was a lot of fun as a drummer and as a rhythm guitar player and as a singer and messing with the distortion.
Yeah.
And every record that I do, it helps me really get in time. And there's always something that I'll learn every time. It's always a challenge. You know, I'm a guy that has ADD and ADHD, and I've never taken anything to help my focus. So, in general, I'm a little scatterbrained when I'm having to sit down and really concentrate on long sessions. You know, usually, like I was talking about, I'm 140 days into a project. I usually work from 9 to 6 every day on it until it's done. So it's that in itself, being dyslexic and ADD and ADHD, puts a whole other, like, okay, hold on. What was I thinking 2 seconds ago? And you got to really listen to that note. It's a trip.
Yeah. Well, you know, I've got 3 boys, and my oldest one's been playing guitar for a little while now. And he heard, he's 14, he heard Hillbilly Joker, And then that was something that triggered him into more of a country style, which he had never heard any country before. He's heard it, but he didn't really listen to it much before. And he started listening to some of that stuff and jumping over into some of the outlaw country stuff, and he's broadened his range quite a bit now. So but it's interesting because as you talk about the music kind of giving you focus, when he gets upset or something, he goes over and picks up a guitar, and 10 minutes later he's a totally different person. And,
right.
and it's amazing to see music do that for a person.
It's great to have an outlet, no matter what that outlet is, something to, if you're doing, just wanting to get away from everything and you get into that trance of just listening to the music and feeling the strings, it's a good thing. And it's a good habit. I never did that good with guitar teachers and stuff like that. I had a couple that understood that I would never really grasp on the theory, but they showed me just cool tricks on how to do it, on just being a good guitar player. So I did my best, but even as a drummer or piano or guitar player, it just never would click with me. And I'm not giving up. One day I might finally understand it, but I can do everything else, but I still can't take that solo like I want to. One day it might happen.
Well, you've got us fooled because it sounds like you got it mastered. Some of this stuff, I listen to, I'm just blown away by the finger picking and the playing that you do. I think it's great stuff, especially, like I said, Brothers of the 4x4, knowing that you sat there and actually made all those tracks and overdubbed it and put it all together yourself. It's a lot of talent there. All right, Hank, well, that's our cue. We got to take a break, but we'll be back with more Hank Williams III on 970 WGTK Resistance Radio. All right, we are back on Resistance Radio with Hank 3. And Hank, as we were going to break, you were talking about Brothers of the 4x4. Now, that was very techie for you. You had to record it all, lay all the tracks together, mix it. Are you that techie? Are you kind of like a techie Joneser? Do you get into that stuff?
I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to gear. Like, my whole house is dedicated to amps and guitars and drum kits and microphones, and it's just something I've been into ever since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I've been lucky enough to hold on to that stuff. And there might be a piece of gear that sits there for 4 years until it finally, it's time to use that. And then you get excited and, start going through the noisemaker.
Nice. Well, listen, I want to ask you a question about your granddad. Because there's a lot of people out there that still don't understand that he was unfortunately fired from the Grand Ole Opry. And until this day, the Grand Ole Opry has yet to reinstate Hank. I know for one, I grew up, my parents and even my older brother's 12 years older than me, were into country music. And so even as a kid, when a lot of my friends were listening to the new music and rock music and things like that, I was starting out in country. I eventually as a teenager switched over to more of the rock and the alternative and the punk stuff that was coming through. But I had roots in country music, and Hank Williams obviously meant a lot to our family. Sit and listen to one of those records, and to know what has happened and how he's disrespected from the Grand Ole Opry. I would like to be part of a movement to get him back in, and I know that you have talked about reinstating Hank. Is there an actual official movement to reinstate your granddad? And can you tell us about it?
Yeah, there's reinstatehank.org, and there's been a lot of people that have signed the petition, and really it's just the power of thought and speaking about it. Like Steve Buchanan's loophole would be, we can't reinstate a dead man. And that's basically saying, well, we're not going to preserve history.
Yeah.
So that in itself is kind of strange to me. But if you look on their website, they have him listed as a member of the Grand Ole Opry from back in the day.
Yeah.
So it's really just talking about it. You'd be surprised just how talking about it or sending emails or posting Reinstate Hank here and there on some of the social outlets can go a long way. You know, when I do a lot of touring out there, I still see kids in their young 20s with their Reinstate Hank T-shirts on.
Nice.
So, and I always tell people I'm not asking for a $100,000 statue or anything like that. We're just asking for one evening and saying that, yes, we respect Hank Williams and we're proud to have him embraced by the, you know, the mother church of country music.
Yeah.
And, you know, they had the Hank Williams play going on for a long time, and they've done a lot to ride his name, but as far as the respects goes, you know, you really have a problem with him that bad, well, it seems like you should be taking down all these pictures that you have up around of him. So, visiting the website, signing the petition, and talking about it is really the biggest thing. You know, who knows who will take Steve Buchanan's job in time, and it just takes that one person to move into that slot, and then everything can change.
Yep.
So,
yeah, let me ask you one more question involving your granddad there. What was it like when you did the Three Hanks Men with Broken Hearts album? That was all three of you, and you had piped your granddad's tracks in. Were you and your dad in the same studio for that, or did you just pipe it all together? Was everybody do their parts separate and overlay it, or what was the process there and how'd it go?
For me, I was totally, you know, it was an honor to sing with senior and junior, but I was totally against it, totally not into it. From my aspect of it, it was going to be like, oh, look who's paving the way for Hank III's career. Mm-hmm. That's the way it felt to me. You know, if they would have waited 10 years and let me get my fan base and do my thing and then do it, yeah, it might have felt a little better. But from the get-go, I was really not into it. None of the songs were done together. It was all done separate. So it's just one of those things. I wish I could have been a little more excited about it, but going back to my independent street, it's not because I'm trying to be just a punk. It's just because I care about the music that I want to do and standing on my own 2 feet. Because, you know, getting pigeonholed into riding the coattails is an easy thing that can happen. It doesn't matter if it's Dweezil Zappa, I say him a lot, or Dale Earnhardt Jr. It's one of those things you have to deal with. Yeah. So it was just a little too early in my career for that record for me to like it.
So you're getting ready to get back out on the road after you finish up your project here. You said later on you'll be back out on the road. Any chance you'll be swinging through Louisville in the next year?
More than likely, since Louisville's close, I'm pretty sure we'll be getting a few Kentucky dates in there.
All right.
I'm shooting for May just to get the crew back in action and to get us touring again. You know, because we got like I said, a lot of cities to play, and you know, I'll always tour the tour till I can't do it anymore. I can't put on the show that I want to, but it's you know, Kentucky's been good to us. We've played headliners a lot over the years, and you know, I've had a lot of crew guys out of Kentucky as well. So
yeah, well, we'd love to have you anytime. Oh, and speaking of May, you're going to be on Marty Stewart again. Is that correct?
Yes, Marty had us on, and we were able to do a couple of songs with, you know, how we look and how we sound, kind of live. It was kind of hard going straight out of studio mode, trying to act like I'm back in the road mode again, but I was able to get, you know, everybody from across the states back in Tennessee for a little bit for that show. So Marty's always been great as a friend and as a musician, you know, just someone to talk to, and he himself is quite the collector, and you know, not a lot of people have told me that much about my grandfather, and he's one of the few that will sit down and have some interesting stories since he's been in the business so long.
Yeah.
So as far back as I can remember, I can remember Marty being around.
Good deal. And so that'll be hitting in May, about the time you're getting back out on the road. So when the spring finally gets here, people need to keep their eyes out and find out where you guys are going to be and get out and check out a show.
Yeah, man. And for the hardcore fans that like to collect the vinyl, Hank3.com is usually the best place to get the vinyl records, T-shirts, CDs, and vinyl. So
yeah, as I said, my 14-year-old who plays has gotten into your music. He's also gotten into collecting vinyl. It's a blessing and a curse, but we live with it. I was listening to crazy stuff when I was a kid too, so every once in a while I hear him playing in the other room, and I'm like, wow, that's it's pretty cool and pretty crazy all at the same time.
No doubt, man. I mean, that's what it's there for.
Yeah,
getting all kinds of different emotions, and even as a parent, I'm one too.
Yeah,
most dads aren't supposed to understand what their kids are listening to. That's part of the beauty of the other sounds as well.
Yep. All right, man. Well, listen, Hank 3, it's been an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate you taking time to be on the show. And whenever you come through town, let us know. You can come back on ahead of time. We'll talk about the show, make sure everybody can get out there and get tickets and join you whenever you come through town.
That'll be great, man.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Stick around. More Resistance Radio coming up next.
State to state.